When fears come in and flood your mind, when you think you're going down, when you think you're not going to make it, when you think you're going to fail God, or you've not measured up, when the enemy comes in and tells you that you're unworthy, you're unholy, you're no good, you'll never get it. What do you do when the enemy comes in like a flood? You see, the Lord raises up a standard. Let me show you what that standard is. Look at verse 1. The Lord reigneth. He is clothed with majesty. The Lord is clothed with strength, wherewith he hath girded himself. And he's put on his armor and set for battle. You have to have a clear vision that your Lord and Savior is standing by. His eyes on your flood, his eyes on you. You have to have a clear vision of what God has promised here. I've not ignored you. I see where you're at. I see what you're going through. Look at me. He says, I have girded myself. I put on my armor. I have my sword in hand. And then read what it says, verse 4. The Lord on high is mightier than the noise of many waters, yea, than the mighty waves of the sea. God says, get your eyes off the flood, get it on me. I've got my sword in hand. I am more powerful. I am mightier than all your floods. I'm bigger than all your fears. Get your eyes off your fears. He said, I've girded myself. That hit me. I could hardly sleep. I picture my Lord standing over me, sword in hand. He knows how far it can go and no farther. He'll come and slay the dragon in his time. He's saying, now you just stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. You just put your trust in me right now. Don't be afraid.
All right. Everybody, welcome to Proverbs Guys Ministries. I am one of the janitors around this place. My name is Steven. You have the guy who really runs the show, Heart of Flesh, and we're going to be holding down the pre-show to our Evolution versus Creation Showdown tonight at 9 o'clock, featuring Dr. Kent Hovind, the great creationist. So if you're here for that event, you'll have to come back. But if you're wanting to hang out and get down and dirty with us until then come on by. We'd love to have you guys. Brother Achilles, how are you?
Hello. I don't have a fancy intro, but I know I'm not running the show. I'm just here because there are free drinks, and I love those. So yes, we are here before the show, mainly so we can discuss a couple of things, and everyone is welcome on the pre-show. They can come right ahead and ask if they are invited at the show, because some people might be surprised that they will not be allowed.
If I just add, the pre-show is maybe your opportunity to plead your case as to why you should be able to debate tonight.
Right.
So come on in. It's open panel. Anybody can come into this one. Come plead your case. Tell us why you should be able to debate Kent Hovind tonight. Or if you have no interest in that, that's great too. We hope you just watch and have a good time with us.
So the previous debate, I want to apologize for not having the full video already uploaded. I'm on like 80% of it done, but I got a little worn out from editing, so I didn't edit today. And it proved we've played this twice. The first part of it, which is one of the defenders of evolution, It proved that he didn't bring something to the table other than what you are doing is this, what you are doing is that, this is not how it works. You are not a scientist. This is not how science works. And
Not legitimate arguments.
we spent a good deal of time on non-legitimate arguments like ad hominems, strawman, and this is what we want to avoid. And we
Mhm.
wish to give the opportunity to new people to come along and have their share, because not only do some people bring faulty arguments, but they also monopolize everything. Like, we didn't even get our questions through. There were a lot of atheists that had questions and they couldn't get through because it was too busy with only two people. So we gotta let the room for others to come on, and those that have already, I would say, the honor of having debated Ken Hovind, they should pass their seat to someone who hasn't. Let's see if the new one can do a better job.
I mean, I would love to have some new perspectives, some new evolutionists or atheists come on tonight, and they can even come on the pre-show and hang out with us first. I think some fresh perspective from that side would be appropriate, simply because Dr. Hovind has completely annihilated the argument of those who have already come on to debate him, especially with our last episode.
Yep, I agree. I'm going to say hello, dear Steph. I'm coming in the chat to say hi. And other than that, I thought of playing the video, but I didn't export it. So we're not going to.
Also, blessed be he is in the comment section, and he says, Proverbs guy, did you see the debate with IP and that Muslim? I don't know who IP is or that Muslim. Um, I've seen a lot of good debates between Christianity and Islam, and I think my favorite defender for Christianity against Islam is Dr. James White. He is really thorough.
All right. I don't know what they are even talking about either. I don't know who IP is.
I don't
And
know. I was trying to think of who IP would be, and I just can't think. If it was IB, maybe Independent Baptist. I don't know.
IP. Sounds like your network address. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. All right. Missing Mod, you're welcome to come on and engage with us, and you can run away before Kent Hovind comes on. We know you don't want to face him, which is weird because you're like his super fan.
I actually didn't hear what you just said. Repeat.
You didn't hear anything I just said?
I heard that you said missing mode, but my volume was low from what we were doing before, and I was making some noise myself here, and I didn't catch it. Yes.
Well, I mean, I'm sure she caught it, but I was inviting her to come on in and hang out, and
Uh-huh.
then telling her it will be okay if she runs away before Kent Hovind gets here.
Who missing mode?
Yeah,
Why?
because she's scared to talk to him. I don't know. It's weird. Like, she defends him all the time. You would think that this girl would have already called him and like introduced herself, but nope. It's like pulling teeth.
She's shy. That's what it is. She's shy.
She also just said no, she's not joining us.
And I think Steph is the definition of an introvert.
What? She's
Yeah.
doing lives all the time, and she's in the comment section constantly.
That doesn't make you an extrovert. An extrovert wants to go out. An extrovert might even call Ken Hovind to say hi. An introvert just wants to be in their room and get some damage done.
I don't even want to go to the grocery store, but I have to because you have to eat.
Yeah, and it's very confusing for many because there are a lot of people that sound very extroverted because they type a lot, because they talk a lot, but they're still home. So anyway, let's not get into the introversion extroversion.
Because I could go on for a while, huh?
Did you throw the link out there? Yes, you did.
I did throw the link out there and I pinned the link. I have to say, for once, I'm on top of it. Now we just need to bait the atheist into coming on in so that they can engage with Kent when he's on later. And also just come hang out with us and maybe we can evangelize. Oh, that's good. We'll make it a challenge. Give us 20 minutes to convert you. And then we'll give you 20 minutes to convert us.
Convert back because we all started believing in the same atheistic narrative that is out there.
Well, no, I didn't. I grew up in a believing home. I left the faith when I was 19, 20, somewhere around there. And I didn't come back until I was 28. But I mean, I never believed in evolution, ever.
I didn't believe in evolution either, but I got taught evolution, but I didn't believe it either. Yeah.
So the only people banned right now are atheist AJ, I believe. And he's permanently banned for making a very inappropriate hand gesture on a live show. So he will not ever be unbanned. But other than that, people are unbanned. Give me a for instance of who isn't.
And who is this Chaste Sanctum? Who
Oh,
knows who we're banning and who we are not banning?
I believe it's Christian. If I had to put my signature on it, I would bet.
Yeah. Which personality of his?
No, Blessed, you're not blocked.
Man.
I don't know why the conspiracy theory that everybody's blocked when they're not. It's just I've blocked some of them so many times, but now when I unblock them, I still can't see their comments. And because I can't see them, sometimes other people can't see them. I don't know why it's glitched like that, but it is a fact. Oh, Big Bad Mama. Now, Big Bad Mama is a special case, and I'm not going to go into why, but Big Bad Mama hasn't been permanently banned yet, but I'd have to see a major apology made from Big Bad Mama to somebody before I let him come back on, because he did some really inappropriate things. No, Blessed, you're not blocked.
To get that to get that apology, he first must understand that what he did is a mistake. Because if you don't have a moral background that tells you that something is not good to do, then maybe whatever you do, you don't consider it a mistake. So I don't think you're gonna get it.
Well, it's not to me. He doesn't owe me an apology.
Yeah.
It was a young lady.
Yep. I know what.
But I doubt it will ever be seen.
Yeah. Now, one of the people that is banned from the debate is Claude. We gave him a chance. He blew it. And we're not going to repeat the mistake. Hello, sister.
I mean, I think what you just said is unfair because we didn't just give him a redo. We gave him like a lot of redos.
Right. Hello,
Hello,
dear Shana.
Shana.
You're muted if you don't know.
Hello.
Hello.
Can I ask you a question?
How do I? Yeah, I was
I
gonna ask
get
you a
that God
question.
is more real than you are, but why the 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5
because see, my keypad is like on, so I was trying to turn it
I'm
off.
on
I
top
don't
of
know
it.
how that happened, so I need to like edit that.
I'm
Oh,
on it.
you
It's
can fix
done.
that for me?
Yep, there you go.
Whoa,
Yeah, I
cool,
wasn't
thanks.
gonna refer to you as
Awesome,
God is
thank
more
you.
real than you are. Wink 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 all night. That wasn't gonna happen. So I'm glad we short.
I didn't mean to do the fives, but I do like five as my like blessed number. I don't know why. It's always been five. I don't know why.
I like
But so
7,
yeah. How are
12.
you?
I like the biblical numbers.
How are you?
Now it's more like it.
Yeah, seven's good. Eight's good. I always picked five. It was like a lucky number for me, but I call it blessed now because I don't believe in luck.
Amen.
Yes,
But how are you
exactly.
guys doing?
All good.
I woke up this morning. I'm super
Busy?
blessed. And I went to a job today.
Amen.
I'm blessed for that.
Good.
I made it through the day safe with no injuries. I was blessed for that. And now I have the opportunity to come on here and spread the gospel and try to straighten out people's confusion about whether or not they came from a loving God's hand, which is Christ Jesus, or developed from some sort of sad ape.
Yeah. Or pond scum. That's what I call them.
On the scum. I thought it was radioactive soup from the
Today,
start.
Well, that's
today, my dear
yeah.
Shayna, I took a break from everything, like the computer and all of it. And when I got
hmm
back, I was chilling, watching news, seeing what's up. And Steven pops in and says, "You know what day is today, right?" I'm like, "What? No, what day is it? Today is the debate." Like, no. So I had no idea. I just found out a couple of hours earlier. Mm.
To be
Oh.
fair, I just remembered a couple hours earlier, and as soon as I saw it, I hopped on the phone with Kent Hovind. I was like, Kent, my friend, can you come on tonight? And he was like, yes, sure, right after my show. So, hallelujah, it was
Oh,
preserved.
awesome. Nice. That's gonna be
Yeah,
great.
I really
Your,
dropped
Yeah.
the ball. We so need somebody to like manage the secretarial stuff because I am
Yeah.
fumbling.
your turn, dear Shayna. How was your day?
Where's missing Maud? She needs to join. I can't be the only female here. Come on.
She is cooking supper and then she's going to be joining us. But where's Yawsome?
That's a good question. She's been avoiding me. I don't know.
What?
Has
I'm
she?
only kidding. She has been avoiding me. She's been busy. I talked to her today. We always like call each other early. She's like, "You awake?" Yep. Thanks to you.
Mm.
I wake her up all the time. She's funny.
Yeah,
Hold on.
she likes to sleep in. All right,
She
so
gets up early with the kids though, but we bug each other. We bugged each other today.
who is Chaste Sanctum? Is that Christian Pike?
I have no idea, man. It's so easy today to hide behind a fake name, so I don't even care who it is.
I mean, in their defense, we can't prove it's a fake name. Somebody very well could be named Chaste Sanctum.
Well, I'll let you know. Give me
How
a
do
couple.
you know?
I'll give me a couple of seconds. I'll let you know.
This is a conspiracy. They say
I
there's
saw
no such thing
a,
as conspiracies, but there are.
I have to share since it's like relevant to tonight's topic. So,
Okay.
yeah, someone was so right. She was like, the evolutionists and atheists, they're like, uh, they use a lot of faith to believe what they believe, right?
Mhm.
So I came across a post today on Facebook about 4 hours ago, and it says to be an atheist, I would have to believe. And it says nothing produced everything, non life produced life, randomness produced precision, chaos produced order. I simply do not have that much faith. So that's a lot of faith. So she was
What?
so right about that. Like, I posted that. I was like, wow, yeah. It takes a lot of
Well,
faith to believe what they believe.
I say it frequently. It takes more miracles and more faith to pull off evolution than it does Christianity.
Yeah.
Everything on the
Yeah.
line that we see on the right side is a set of miracles, all the way to the end of it. Miracle, 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 miracle. I mean, God made some miracles and then he rested. Evolution never rests, just one miracle after the other.
Mm.
Yeah, and I think believing in God and knowing that He is Creator, it's special, and you have to know that He created you, and He created all of us, and that's how much He loves us. Like we are specialized by Him. We are tailor made by God, everyone, and it's sad that they believe in the evolution and that side, and not that they were created out of full love by God. Like, yeah.
Amen.
Well, it's a sad existence because you go through your entire life believing that you have no purpose and that you were just a happy circumstance or a happy mutation. And
Right.
then after going through this existence with no purpose and no real motive to even live, to be honest, then you go into it knowing that once you grow old and fragile and watch all your friends die and fade away, you'll never see them again. And then you fade away. And there's nothing after that. You just return your energy back to some universal oneness or something. And like there's no present, there's no future. It's such a sad existence.
Yeah, it is. To just live like purposeless, nah, that's not the truth. I mean, they're just not walking in truth. But I pray that everyone that listens to this podcast and hears Dr. Hoven and hears all of us, and even if we're just the ones that are planting a seed and then someone else comes to water and then God gives the increase anyway, I pray that everyone's ears and eyes are open to God and that He reveals Himself to them tonight and from now on. Like, I think He's going to do that anyway. Like, He's given all kinds of people in different countries visions and dreams and all kinds of things appearing to them. And He's letting Himself know that He's letting people know that He's real. And we're in the end times. We're not just in the end times. We're in like the last days of the end times. Like, there's not much time. Like, we can't just get ready. We have to be ready.
Amen. Dear Shayna, I'm beginning to like you even more.
I don't know where this is coming from. I've been missing the podcast in my family, to be honest. I was praying. I was like, Lord, I miss my family. Like, I was hoping you guys had a podcast tonight because I did miss all of you.
Well, you lucked out because there are two. So it's going to be a big night. And hopefully we're going to win a lot of souls and we're going to bring a lot of joy to people. And we're also going to bring them purpose and we're going to bring them a future. And we're going to do that by just being vessels for the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
And I want to reiterate and reinforce what you are saying, both of you, to anyone that is listening and they are still believing in evolution. I mean, get a grip. I mean, seriously. If you go to the doctor about anything, they're going to give you an analysis of that part that you went there for. And you are believing that that part created itself and the other parts were ready before that part was ready. So, I mean, go back, start rolling back to see. So you were an ape, but before becoming an ape, which part started evolving first and was waiting for the rest? Guys and girls, we are vessels, as Stephen said, of only trying to show you how bluntly obvious this is, that there are two alternatives. you were created, therefore you have a purpose, or it's all randomness. So the randomness, focus on it, check it out. It doesn't make sense. Out of chaos, everything becoming what it is today in millions and billions of years. I mean, Satan had to have an alternative. He had to have one. But it's stupid. It's not even worth thinking about.
Well, the math doesn't work.
Not
It's
normal.
silly. All the theories have incomplete evidence. The ancestors they have partial fossils for are cousins of our ancestors. And we have 14 intermediates or so between ape and us. So why haven't we found thousands of intermediates between those 14 and ourselves? You would think that there would be that many, since the way it works is gradual mutations that are kept over generations and passed down, and sometimes beneficial, but not always, which also doesn't make sense because we still have apes. But then when you
Those
push
are the
that, they say,
stupid,
well, no, we're not directly. Well, which is it, man? I mean, make up my mind. In the words of my brother Dustin, make up my mind for me.
those are the stupid apes. They haven't evolved yet. If you sit down there and watch them, at some point they're gonna give birth to a human. But you gotta be patient. Millions of years patient.
Is it just millions? I thought it was billions, right? 4.6 billion. But then I heard that with new discoveries, they think it's closer to like 20 billion now, 17 billion, something like that. I don't know. They add
Oh,
billions.
by the way, they changed the narrative on the age of the Earth, the age of the universe. They doubled it again. Let me tell you the number.
What is it now? Is it 8? I thought it was more than that. I thought it was like possibly up to 17 or 20 billion years.
I know I downloaded that picture. Where is it? Where are you? Oh,
The
it's here.
scientific community adds billions of years to their model quicker than the United States government adds debt. I mean, it's ridiculous. Every time you turn your head, it's really like attending an Oprah Winfrey show. She's like, "You get a billion years, and you get a billion years. Everyone, look under your chair. You all get a billion years." It's ridiculous.
So now the age of the universe is 26.7 billion years, which is twice as old as previously believed.
Wait, what is it now?
26.7 billion years.
Okay, so yeah, man, we're almost 30 billion years old. And just a couple of years ago, we were still 4 billion plus years old. So, how many billions of years old did we get in like 2 years? That's a lot. That's a lot. Like, we're growing rapidly.
And that's what they do. They just keep adding the salt, when it doesn't, when things go bad for their theory, they just add a couple of, uh, not a couple, a dozen of billion years, and that fixes it.
Mm.
Uh,
Does it though, or does it just add another band-aid? See, I think what the strategy is, right? The strategy is every time we get close to bursting all the holes, because the evolution theory has more holes in it than Swiss cheese. And every time we get close to bursting the last one, they have to add billions of years on us because the only way they can avoid from being totally defeated in front of their own audiences is by constantly running and adding distance between them and the model.
yeah, the further back it is, the hardest for someone to imagine what happened. If they said that the universe was created like only, I don't know, 10,000 years ago, people would, know it's a stupid theory. But if you add billions and billions of years, somehow it makes sense. Things creating other things, and they are all perfect. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm even tired with the discussion about this. The only reason I'm here and I will remain doing it is that there are people who still believe what the textbooks are teaching them, even though it doesn't make sense. But nobody checks uh, verifies their math. Well, if scientists say it, they wouldn't lie to me, would they? Well, uh, Hitler had scientists too. There are scientists behind the market of smoking. Um, it's scientists that told you what to do back in 2020. But when it comes to this, these are different scientists. The whole narrative has to do with hiding God from beginning to end. Why?
Well, of course, they say that it's a natural explanation for how we are, but what it is a natural explanation for how we would be if we weren't created by a God. It's their safety net to be kept from being accountable. Also, Maud, I would be happy to come on one of your shows, but I don't debate politics because, frankly, I just don't care anymore. It's all going to burn, and the liberals can do what they want with it. It's their cesspool now. I wash my hands of it. No hard feelings. They can have it. As far as debating Big Bad Mama on politics, in addition to just not having any interest in politics at all anymore, I couldn't debate Big Bad Mama because, for one thing, he's a socialist, I believe, from things I've heard. He's hypercritical of our government. And on top of that, and one of the worst things I think is that he doesn't value the electoral college process. And that tells me that he doesn't respect the vision that our country has held rooted for a very long time. So, I mean, we're already coming at it from such vastly different perspectives. I couldn't have a good faith debate with him because I don't respect any of his opinions politically.
I would ask you to respond to BMC, but I think bubblegum
Okay,
response.
so Beamsy, you say that the age of the universe has nothing to do with evolution, but it's cosmic evolution. For evolution to begin, you have to have particles of space dust, which means you have to have something going on in outer space, which means things had already had to happen up there. For instance, your Big Bang. So, yes, time and space is all included into the talk of evolution. And if you don't know that, you know very little about your own faith, and it's very sorrowful. So I would come back after you have a little more knowledge and understanding on your own beliefs. That's my opinion.
Nailed it.
Bubblegum, you're welcome to come join us.
Nailed it, bro. And I feel very okay. I would say I'm conserving energy for the debate. But hello, Vinci.
I have plenty of
Good
energy
morning.
for the debate. Hi, Beamsy.
How does the theory of biological evolution have anything to do with Big Bang cosmology?
Okay, so let me ask you this. Where does life start?
It all defines what you mean by life. Are you
I
talking about
think
the
I
aspect
want
of...
the explanation for when you believe life began. What is the consensus? On Earth, when did life begin?
Unfortunately, there is no consensus, but the consensus of when singular objects had self-motivation was approximately 3.2 billion years ago.
So it had nothing to do with raining on rocks for millions of years.
No.
So you're countering from the textbooks now. That's
Show me a
amazing.
textbook that has it in there.
It's not unexpected, but it is sad.
Show me a textbook that has it in there.
I don't have a textbook right next to me.
I can show
But
you many
all of them
textbooks
say.
that... No, I can show you many textbooks that actually say the opposite of that. They don't say raining on rocks for millions of years.
Oh, it says the opposite of that. So you're telling me that there's literally a textbook that says life began from it not raining on rocks for millions of years?
There is nowhere
That's what
that
you hold
says
to?
no. There is nowhere in any textbook that teaches you that life comes from raining on rocks for millions of years.
And then so I ask you, what is the new perspective? And you have no answer for me. I believe you said what all the other atheists and evolutionists say, which is, I don't know.
If you want to go through what the consensus is of abiogenesis, I can give you a couple of the hypotheses that are put forwards.
Well, if you're not going to admit that your theory ties space dust into the origins of species, then I don't know if we even have a starting point.
The thing is, the theory of biological evolution can actually start from the creation of single cellular objects from a deity, from aliens, from cosmic matter. It doesn't matter, because the theory of biological evolution can only take place when there are leotards to actually be interacted with.
Okay.
So what
Alright,
happened
so are
before
you- are
that
you-
is a
are you
different theory.
You're saying that it's possibly aliens now?
No, I'm saying these are where potentials could be. A god
So
like
one of
what
the-
you believe in could magically have created the multicellular objects and the Earth 3.5 billion years ago, and then the aspect of what we perceive is someone who is smart enough to actually set everything in motion to the way it is. That is one way that people can think.
Okay, but the other alternative you gave was the cosmic dust, right?
No, I gave you 4 different alternatives. I can come up with more if you want.
Can you? Which one is your perspective? We got to follow that rabbit hole.
Wait. What I'm getting at is that your original comment is that the age of the universe has nothing to do with evolution. All right.
Yes.
And you also accused whoever said that, probably me. I'm not taking it personally. I'm just saying that it's a red herring. But then you give me the alternatives being a creator, which you reject, B, aliens, and C, cosmic dust, which proves that that is not a red herring. It has everything to do with evolution.
And cosmic dust would
Unless you want
certainly.
to go for the other two alternatives.
And cosmic dust, would that not be tied into cosmic evolution? Does cosmic evolution not have to happen first for cosmic dust to reach Earth and start life here? Do you follow your own beliefs? Do you ever put it on paper and write it down? I'm also very tired of you guys saying the consensus is. The consensus, there is no consensus. No 4 atheists or evolutionists agree. And the space rocks being rained on for millions of years versus the space dust or the deity, that's an example. So when you say consensus, I need you to be a lot more specific, please, because I haven't found a consensus yet.
Because you've only interacted with people on YouTube. You've never actually spoken to a scientist like myself.
Right.
Well, no
Okay, so if you
scientist
guys are interacting with these scientists, why don't any of you guys agree on what they say?
Wait a minute.
That tells me you guys aren't watching them either. Let's follow this to its logical conclusion.
Steven, give me a minute. First off, that was the first ad hominem of the night. He says that all you've encountered in your life are YouTubers, right?
I didn't say life.
Okay.
It's
Second
still an
point
assumption.
I wanted to make is that on one side, we gave you the consensus and you said, no, that's not what the consensus is. And then you refer to the consensus. So which one is it? Do you have another alternative which is not with the consensus? Because the consensus is what you see on the left side of your screen. It all began with stars exploding, which goes further back to Big Bang. And then the stars started exploding and created all the elements. And if that didn't happen, you wouldn't have dinosaurs evolving to birds and bees. Okay, so this is a unified theory. Are you going against that theory or are you with that theory?
No, what you're representing there is only what you would encounter within Answers in Genesis or from Hovind. Nowhere else would you encounter anything like that.
So this is not the consensus.
What you are representing on the screen is not what is seen as how it operates.
So are you saying
Well,
it is
I didn't.
oversimplified, or is this not the general idea?
I didn't
Bubblegum,
get
I'm
it.
gonna let you drill this down, Bubblegum, because I
Yeah,
feel
me
you
too.
cornering
Me too.
Beansy already, and I love it.
I just want to say that I typed evolution, and I got that picture. I didn't type evolution get Hobbit. I made the thumbnail. So this is the narrative. I've seen better charts, I will agree, but it is one that unifies everything. This is the theory. This is what children are being taught in schools.
There is no unifying theory of everything what you're trying to represent. That's not evolution.
Yeah,
Evolution is
it's
the
not
theory of
unified.
biological evolution, which is taught in
It's not
biology.
unified because there are a lot of lies connecting all the dots. I understand that, but this is the narrative.
The narrative for what? Because that's not the narrative of evolution. It's not
For
what you
how
were
you
taught.
got here,
The
for how you
narrative
got
for
here
life.
without a God creating you.
So he's making a distinction between abiogenesis and evolution, but we're including the whole narrative for life.
But you've advertised this as evolution. This is not evolution. If you're taking everything across the creative of the universe narrative,
So the main
that's two
statement.
separate things.
No, okay. Look, the first main statement was like, why is evolution tied into the billions of years? It's tied into the billions of years because that is what is supposedly required for randomness to eventually collectivize into life.
What was that, Bubblegum? I didn't catch the last word.
So the main reason Benson came in here was like because he made the claim like evolution and billions of years aren't related, and that's clearly false because in every evolutionary theory you need the billions of years of randomness in which
It can't happen without billions of years.
well, because they're not going to appear to a supernatural element or a creative element. So they need the randomness of rocks just tumbling on themselves for
Amen.
billions of years to collectivize into a life
But
form.
then they'll have the gall to sit here with a straight face and say that life has nothing to do with rained upon rocks. Like, it's baffling.
Yeah, but
No,
They're either
Vinci-
extremely intellectually dishonest intentionally, or they're just so ignorant that it's sad.
But Vinci made the claim for like the first cell being created by God. But Vinci, that's not the consensus, so it doesn't matter what
Or
what you think.
aliens.
Or aliens. Yeah, that's not the consensus.
Yeah, and what bothers me is Beamsy wants to come on here tonight and debate evolution with us and tell us how Christianity is false, but we have a model from start to finish, and all Beamsy you can give us is I don't know. I pressed you on origins of life, and your answer was I don't know. So you don't
No, I
even
never
have a
answered.
leg to stand on in this debate, to be honest with you, because you have an incomplete model.
can I now speak?
I don't know, can you?
I can, but I keep getting interrupted. But the aspect of what you're representing there is not the theory of biological evolution. The first one you were representing is the Big Bang, which is an expansion event of the universe. It has nothing to do with creation. It's an event that the universe was scientifically shifted from hot and dense to cool and sparse. Your chemical evolution is stellar nucleosynthesis and just nucleosynthesis.
Okay,
Your
so
stellar-
I'm sorry, continue.
The stellar and planetary evolutions is a different terminology. It's not actually used in any of that. It's actually how stars and planets age over time. It has, again, nothing to do with the theory of biological evolution. Organic evolution, the origin of life is a very complex and confusing area. There are approximately 6 different hypotheses that are being put forwards.
I know, but to be honest with you, I can't even let you get that far because you don't have a starting point for when we started here on Earth. So we're not going to go there because you have no leg to stand on. I'll let you go to the Big Bang, though, because you appear to have some sort of idea of the Big Bang. And I will point out before drilling into this, no two atheists I've ever met agree. It's either the beginning of the universe or it's the rapid expansion. It sounds like you're
Yeah, but
going
if
with
you-
rapid expansion.
But Stephen, in case you haven't noticed, they never disagree with each other. They only contradict themselves when they are going online to debate, and one will say one thing, one will say the other. Now, whether Bimsy likes it or not, or wants to evade it because he's trying to bring a new approach to things, you could never have 6 without 5, without 4, without 3, without 2, without 1. Draw an arrow from 1 to number 6, and this is the unified theory. Now, if you want to go against that theory, oh, I'm with you. I'm listening. But don't tell me this is not the theory and that none of this relates to each other, because I'm sorry, this is just stupid.
Okay, so you want to actually debate the aspect of life, the universe, and everything. You don't want to debate evolution, because when it comes to evolution,
It's all
How?
related. You're
How?
not going to unhitch from cosmic evolution. We're not going to let you do that.
So
No, we
You
want
have
you
to
to
explain the
to me-
whole process.
What he's
Bimsy.
describing as evolution is number 4. All
Well,
right.
What
no,
he wants to do
no,
is
look.
do drive-by points
no.
to
what
try
he-
to plug his arguments, and I'm not going to allow it. He's going to start from beginning and explain the whole process. He's not going to skip over and say, oh, and then some point a billion years later. That's not an argument.
Well,
You're
no,
not going to come on here
look.
and tell me that creationism is wrong if you don't have a complete model. Here,
Look, well,
let
no,
me hear
look-
your complete model, Beamsy.
Look at his original statement. His original statement was that evolution wasn't related to the billions of years, but it clearly is, because it is necessary for you to have these random mutations.
I know,
So-
I know, but they walk in circles all day, because when they have no true consensus, because none of the scientists actually agree, they have to do that. And it also makes it irritating to debate them, because they don't have a standard that they have to set themselves to, and they can adapt every year or every other conversation as it suits them. It's very intellectually dishonest and very irritating, to be honest with you, Beamsy.
Bimsy,
Now, do you care to explain your model from start to finish?
That is not my model. The model that you are trying to represent
It's
is
your
Hoven's
faith.
model. No,
Well,
this
that's-
is Hoven's.
No, Bimsy, that's a consensus. Sure, it's not
No,
your
this is
model, but
Hoven's.
it is the consensus. That is
Well,
not.
there's no such thing as
Hoven's is
scientific consensus, because no two scientists agree.
Sure. It's
Yeah,
a much.
well, okay, no two scientists agree when you come to debate them. But in order to write the books that they are writing, we've all seen biology books, and they all have the same narrative. And if you flick your TV on a documentary of the origins of life, you're gonna get all that. So I don't know, Bimsy might be a revolutionary.
Well, I think all we have to ask Bimsy is, do you think you still have Darwinian evolution if the universe was only, let's say, 6,000 years old?
It can't be.
No, that's not the question. Do you think you can still have Darwinian evolution if the universe was 6,000 years old?
It really depends on what you're talking about, because
Darwinian
what is the starting
evolution.
point?
What do you
Yes,
mean?
but what is the
It
starting
depends on what he's talking about. How many different
Darwinian.
Darwinian evolutions are there, Beamsy? I thought there was just the one. Is there
I
a second
know.
one you guys have been hiding in your back pocket, for crying out loud? Like, come on, man. Stop dancing and just give him a freaking answer, dude.
Okay, when you say the universe is 6,000 years old, does that mean it was pulled out of a unicorn's butt 6,000 years ago? Or
No, that
Is
means
it
that
6,000 years
cosmic
ago?
dust.
Or was
It
it
means cosmic dust landed upon rocks, and it rained for billions of years, and radioactive soup turned into radioactive frogs,
Wait,
or
wait,
some
wait,
kind of
wait, wait.
single, said
Wait,
blah,
Stephen.
blah, blah,
Wait,
dude.
Stephen, wait.
So irritating,
Yes,
though, Achilles.
yes, it came out of a unicorn's butt, okay? The question of bubblegum still stands. Is there
No.
enough time in
Yes.
6,000 years to have the Darwinian evolution? Please answer.
Now, can I ask what phase was the universe actually in when it was pulled out of the unicorn's butt?
No
life.
living cell organism existed.
Is it pure plasma, which it was 6,000 years after the Big Bang, or was it a pre-existing phase 3 universe?
Oh, so you believe in the Big Bang then?
the Big Bang is proven. It's very difficult to say that it did.
Well, no, it's not proven. It is theorized. You can even go to Wikipedia. You will read theorized. But you were just saying that discussing about the age of the universe is a red herring.
Is he
So-
is he
Not
asking
to
is
men-
like
Not to mention the whole, did the stars inside the elements and the elements in the star, like the chicken before the egg situation, you guys can't answer. Like, why did the star explode? Did that create the
Okay.
elements? Were the elements already in the star because
Bim-
stars are full of
Bim-
elements? Like,
Yes,
you
of
guys
course.
don't
Just
even
think of-
know. It's so
just
sad.
think of
man.
planet Earth. Yeah, just think of planet Earth with no life, no vegetation, no germs, just like that. Okay.
So a phase 3 universe about approximately 5 million years ago is what you're asking about.
But
that
it's
was
6,000. So the universe is actually just 6,000. Yeah.
But what you're saying is in the state that we recognize what the universe was 5 billion years ago is what we're talking about. That's what it was created 6,000 years ago as.
Yeah, but it
It
has
was
no
the
life. It has no viruses. It has no proteins laying about, right?
No, Darwinian evolution cannot interact on that because there's nothing alive on that planet.
So then Darwinian evolution does require billions of years, right?
No.
And how do you explain away the Fermi's paradox?
The aspect of what Darwinian evolution requires is living organisms. That's where it starts.
Right, but those
What-
living organisms didn't come out of the unicorn's butt, as we both agree, right? Now, we believe that it had a creator's touch. You believe what exactly?
How far back do you want to go? Because if we want to go back to the aspect of the
If
Big
I
Bang,
can't
it's
start
going to
getting
take
straight
me-
answers from you, Beamsy, I'm going to boot you very quickly.
No, I'm
Start
asking
answering
you to.
some of these questions. I'm not going to answer your question, dude. Play
I want to know where you want me
along
to
or
start
go.
because I'm asking because what's important is where do you want me to start? I will answer the question from where you want me to start. Do you want me to
Okay,
start?
you can start.
No, he can't either. Dret, your turn. Do you want to try answering some questions?
Yeah, bring back Benji.
I
It's fun.
am willing to. I think you got that guy. I think he was willing to work, but I do see what you're saying. He was being a little difficult.
A little bit. Dret, you sound suspiciously like James.
James, I've been here before.
Oh,
Last
you
time I
have.
was
You're
here-
right. I remember, Dret. Yeah,
Okay.
I liked you, but I heard you came on another show after that, and you guys were into it or something.
I don't know if that's the case.
Okay.
I'm
Well-
willing to be questioned on that, but I don't know if that's
No,
the case.
that's not necessary. How you been, Dret?
I've been okay. I'm glad to see you guys are still going at it. But can we go back to that last image?
Yes. This one.
So first of all, let me get this out there. We debated evolution before, and you guys proved that I have no in-depth knowledge. I can't debate you guys on it. You won the debate. That doesn't change my opinion about evolution. It just makes me realize, hey, I don't know anything really about this. I don't know the details, the facts. I just know that I was taught this in school, and I still believe it. Okay?
Okay, very, very good way.
So
to-
what will change your mind?
Yeah.
Because like we can run around in circles telling you all these facts. It's not going to go anywhere. So
Yeah,
unless you tell us
the problem with your facts is I assume that your facts are either misinterpreted or are being misinterpreted or just are irrelevant in some way or
Well,
are
we can-
beaten
we
by
can
some
go-
other facts.
Well,
we can go in depth.
Let me ask Dret this. Is there something, a line in the sand that you could draw that if we were to cross that point and you were not able to come up with an answer, your scientist couldn't come up with an answer, would that be enough to evaluate that maybe there's a God? Is there something we can dismantle to spark that question in you?
I'm not willing to deny God. How do you word this? I could be convinced there's a God. I think it would take a lot, and I don't know if that's worth your time. you would have to do more than just prove evolution is wrong. There'd be a lot of other things.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
you have to give us that criteria. You can't just say,
Yes.
well, there is, but what is it then, right?
I
First-
don't exactly know.
Well, if you don't know, well,
First off, Bubblegum, my brother.
Yeah, and Dred's
Give me
cool.
a second. Give me a second. I wanna say, Dred, that I did not begin with my Bible. I arrived at the Bible, and I arrived at the Bible having a scientific degree and being the first in my generation to care about space and planets. I bought my first astronomy book when I was 7 years old. I was collecting money to get it, and I was in love with space. I, in fact, wanted to get out of this planet. All right, but it boils down to a very simple situation, which is if you find someone lying to you once, how can you trust them when they speak? So what we are doing is exposing the lies in the theory, because from the picture that we have here, only microevolution, aka variations, is what we observe. All the rest are theory. And when you look into the facts that they call are facts, you realize, oh, that was not a fact. That was an assumption. You look at the next, and that's also an assumption. So there's a lot of assumptions, and they pass them for truth. So our job is first to prove that they are lying to you, and then to tell you that you were wonderfully created by a God who is love himself, impersonated and sacrificed himself for you and your soul. So why is that so bad? I mean, you only can have two alternatives. The world was created or the world evolved. So I understand and I admire and appreciate what you said, that about us and the debate, but we're not doing this to win, my brother. We are doing this to win souls, to make people wake up just as we woke up. So, sorry.
I mean, as you witnessed, Dret, I get no pleasure from these conversations. Now sometimes I do. Conversations like you and I had that time, I found fascinating, and I thought you were really honest about not wanting to convert, first of all. So we were able to just have a relaxed conversation, but you were totally respectful and you did hear us out. And you gave us answers, even though a lot of them were I don't know. And I don't mean that as a low blow.
so I think Dredd, that's his name. So he tells me he doesn't know what's going to convince him. Well, if you don't know, there's really nothing to convince you, because the first question is like the first question we have to answer: what is going to convince you, or is there any actual thing that is worth convincing you, or do you even want to be convinced?
Or do you not want to be convinced? Because that goes even deeper into the conversation of, you know, are you purposefully avoiding God because you do think he's there, but you just want nothing to do with him?
And if you want to say I hate God, that's fine, because at least that's honest.
Okay. I would like to talk about a number of things with you guys.
Take your pick.
There's a lot that you guys just said. I would say that I'm anti-religion, but I think everyone deserves respect, and you guys have proven yourselves that you clearly deserve respect. But the reason I don't agree with you, Bubblegum Gun, that I don't know what isn't a good enough answer or is flawed in some way. You got to see it as, over the years, I've built up so many reasons why I don't believe in God. So many doubts. And you would have to go through each doubt, you know? And I could start listing them, but I don't know when the list ends.
If I could, I mean, no, that's fair. And last time you were here when I was on, we had a good talk. You asked a couple questions about Lot and his daughters, And those were tough questions, but I tried to answer them. And I would be happy to answer some more of those tough questions if you have a few.
But why unifies all these questions? Like,
Well,
what's
hold on. I mean, he was wanting real answers because he's read the Bible for himself, and he says after reading it, he believed even less that there was God because he thought that some of the things he observed about God in the book was what he considered very immoral. You understand that from an outsider's perspective. So hold tight, Bubblegum. I'm going to give it to Dret. And Dret, if you have some more of those difficult questions, we'll answer them for you.
I appreciate that you actually remembered that. You helped clear up one of those doubts. For example, when you cleared up the morality that Lot himself was to blame for his decision, his terrible decision, and not God.
I remember you very well, Dret.
Okay. But I would like to just talk about this image that we're looking at right now.
Okay.
I can't speak much about evolution, but I have some doubts about the integrity of this particular image. First of all, why does it say on the left, religious non-science?
Who wants to take the answer?
All right. So religious non-science is because point 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, there is no evidence for it. It's not observable, and thus it's not repeatable.
I would include
Number six, we can observe. We
Right,
can
see.
observe microevolution, which is variations within a kind.
No. That has never been observed. That is your religion.
Wait,
Well, we have seen dog breeds change.
No, we have not.
wait.
have
Bubblegum.
Yeah.
Microevolution is what we call variations. Okay, and that is
How many breeds of dogs are there, Bubblegum?
I think about like.
All right, but
They all,
back and hi Ryan, by the way.
hey, Stephen, how are you?
But back
All
to
right.
Dret, I really want to answer the question, and that's why the 1 through 5 says religious non-science, because those 5 you have to have faith to believe as part of the hypothesis. There's no evidence.
okay, and I'm gonna share a picture for our brother to understand what we mean. Is it sharing? Am I sharing this? Okay.
I see it.
Okay, so this horizontal line is what we observe. We can
we
watch
haven't.
this. We can see this. I mean, if you take the
No,
black
it is
lizard,
inferred.
I
It
mean
is
what?
inferred. It is
No.
inferred.
No, the thing is, Bubble, that due to this being fact, they are telling us that all the previous are facts. No, this is fact. I mean, I can take a
No, you
white
can't.
dog and a black dog and create a black and white dog. It happens. We see that happening. I've seen.
No, you can't take, for example, you can't just take white dogs, pure white dogs, and get a black dog. That's never going to happen.
Well, not exactly like that, but it works with the Mendel laws in that
Well,
were
no, they
about flowers.
they already presuppose a black dog, so they mix in a black dog to get a black dog. Well, that's evading the question.
Look, biologically speaking, we have the Mendel laws, which give you a type, which you take the chromosomes and you mix them, and you create 4 subtypes, and that is observable in other species as well.
No, it's not observable. It's an inferred.
Well, I have had a lot of dogs in my life, and
I've studied. That's like
every offspring they give carries the characteristics of its 2 parents. So if I have a Rottweiler and I mate it with a stray,
what stray? What stray?
Dog, which is all the genes together.
So
the canard. Do you know the canard? Do you know the canard?
So if let's say you get a Rottweiler and then you mix it with a straight Rottweiler, or you're gonna get a Rottweiler. You're never gonna get a Chihuahua.
Well, no, you're not gonna get a Chihuahua because that is cross type. Okay, but you are gonna get a variation. So in order
No,
for
you're gonna get a
people
Rottweiler. You're
in
not gonna get
order
you're not gonna get a
no, no.
variation. You're gonna get a
If
Rottweiler.
if you talk about Rottweiler specifically, they breed them with their own kind, and sometimes with their father and with their grandfather, so they always get the same characteristics. If this process gets stained, then you start getting white spots on their fur. And when you see a white spot on the fur of a Rottweiler, it's not a pure-blooded Rottweiler. So they go
Mixed breed,
the
yeah.
extra mile in order for variations to not happen. And that
Yeah,
happens with a lot of dogs.
they try to keep them pure breed, but the way
Yes.
a lot of way they keep them pure breed is through interbreeding, and that's worse than mixed breeding. So yes, it's good to keep them pure breed, but you can't keep them pure breed through interbreeding. Like incest. That's bad.
Yeah, but you cannot deny that we have variations. We have 200 dogs. We have more than 200
Well,
dogs.
they're not.
All
They're
right,
not
all
very.
right, all right, all right, all right. Dred is our guest, and I really want to answer as many of his questions as we can. Not debate whether or not dogs have variations. Bubblegum,
Right.
stop.
So let me just finish this without closing this parenthesis, and we can get to this at another time. But the parenthesis is going aside, and what we were talking about is that because microevolution, which we prefer to call variations, is observable, they take this the extra mile and they say, oh, therefore, macroevolution is possible. That is the only evidence that exists, and it's called variations. So because I can take a Mustang horse with another type of horse and get the in between, or get a donkey, they are saying that evolution is possible. And that's why on this chart you see evolution on, oh, I need to reshare it. It's right here. That's why on this chart you see evolution being number 5, because it is part of the religious part. It is not observed. We have no evidence for it. All we have for evidence is the microevolution. Then they will say, oh, we have the fossils, but that's a long story. I want to stop here. I hope I've answered your question. Why?
Yes, I was more concerned with maybe the grammar of the thing on the left, but it did point out a question. It did basically answer my question. I was suggesting that it was written poorly, which kind of suggested that why are we trusting this source? Because non-science should have the dash in between it.
Okay.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Well, the point here is that if I want to call something science, I need to have the evidence for it. If I don't have the evidence, it is called faith. I have faith in it.
I agree with that argument completely.
Right,
If you can prove that, then absolutely.
So all the above are assumptions, are theories, and they call them science. And we are pointing out that they are not. They are religious.
Yes. So I guess I should address this first. There is evidence to support macroevolution, like the fossil records, but you guys have problems with the fossil records, and you can point to areas where you have problems with fossil records, but I can't argue on these individual things. So there is evidence, but you guys reject the evidence. Isn't that correct?
Well, no,
I mean, what would be the evidence? What would you say is a strong motive?
That's my question. That's my thing. There is no evidence. Like you can't just say that there's evidence because there's no evidence. Like the geologic columns, the layers, the fossils, they don't work. First of all, they date the layers from the fossils, and they date the fossils from the layers, so it's circular reasoning.
So I can't argue the specifics with you guys. Is this a semantic difference? Or
No,
do you
no,
legitimately believe there's no evidence? Do you
no,
believe
No,
there's
it's
bad
saying-
evidence, or do you believe there's no evidence?
I believe they have evidence for ancient fish, yes, but not from billions of years ago. And I
So
don't
from-
believe any of the fossils they have is evidence of anything that's changed into something today.
May I contribute to the conversation real quick?
Please.
Yes, Ryan.
Okay, are we speaking to Dret Foster?
Yes, Dredd is an evolutionist, but he's a very friendly fella.
Well, hi, Dret. It's nice to meet you. It's an honor to meet you. I've been a part of this team since June, and it's been one blessing after another blessing after another blessing. And so it is an honor to meet you. Thank you for coming in here.
Good to meet
Dret, do you ever have you ever watched Kent Hovind's videos?
I'm familiar with the man. I have not seen his videos.
Okay, just about all of us in here, if not all of us, can trace our teachings, our learnings back to Kent Hovind and his teachings. Years ago, he did a series of DVDs called the Creation Seminar Series. And if you watch every bit of it, he pretty much answers any and every question that you might have about the topic of evolution versus creation. So if you really want to know some stuff, I highly recommend. I believe that those videos are all on YouTube.
Well, Ryan, Dr. Hovind's going to be with us in less than an hour.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we
That's a lot of
will
pressure.
be ending this stream at 8:45, and at 9 o'clock Eastern time, he'll be coming on the show. And if evolutionists come on and want to debate, they can have an open mic debate. And if none come on, we're just going to interview them.
Well, there you go, Dret. Stick around, and you can actually talk to the man himself. That's awesome. I did not know that.
But I do really want to try to get through as many of your points as you have saved up, Dret. So where would you like to go next?
Okay. I did have one line of questioning that I'm curious what your response is. So how science works. Oh, I guess let me start here. Do you guys respect some science?
I love science.
Okay.
Me too.
And you respect the scientific method.
not scientists. We respect
Okay.
science, but not the scientists, quote unquote.
Do you
scientists.
respect the scientific method?
Of course, that's what our problem is with all the other parts that don't follow the scientific method.
Okay. Okay.
Testable, repeatable.
Yes. So I like to think that there's a difference between, like, the reason I'm able to not have evidence to support evolution and still believe in it without believing that belief is faith is because I have trust in the scientific method. I
faith?
understand.
How can I ask you a question on that, Dred?
Absolutely.
All right. You say that you have faith in the scientific method, but the first 5 of these 6 that we have listed, there's no scientific method able to be applied to it. So it has to go off faith, which does bring it back to religion. And it's fine if that is your religion, but I think you should maybe realize that it is a religion because it takes the same amount of faith as our faith does.
And now I respect that argument, but I do see it differently. I'm just looking at these really quickly to see if there's any that I'm actually familiar with. I'm honestly not that familiar with. I'm even less
That's
familiar
fine.
with these subjects than evolution.
We're not going to gut punch you. You're friendly and you're seeking answers.
I
Wanna
can say. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Something? Do you want to watch something about why we call this circular reasoning and what exactly is going on? By what Ryan suggested, Ken Hovind, who will be with us in less than an hour. Would you like to watch a small part?
Yes, let's watch a small part of that.
We have someone new in the house. Putting him up here. Hello,
He's
Andrew.
not totally new. This is Ryan's friend.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I sometimes forget to send you invites, Andrew. I apologize, but tonight the Lord told me invite Andrew. And so I did.
Thank you.
I
Thank
apologize
you.
for forgetting when I did my show the other night. That would have been good to have you here.
That's all right.
Well, Andrew, feel free to tag in whenever you want. We're not debating right now. There's a debate at 9, but right now we're having a good conversation with our buddy Dret, who holds to the evolution model. And we're just kind of going back and forth, and we're going to show him a little snippet of Dr. Hovind explaining this away.
Tell me about the audio.
I said, all right, I like dinosaurs. Let's go. So we all drove down to Rapid City. We came to this museum, and a guide met us at the door. He said, hey, folks, would you like me to give you a tour? We said, that would be great, sir. Well, the first place we stopped on the tour was the geologic time chart. They have it lit up, and it's behind glass, and it's holy and sacred. Don't dare touch that thing, you know. So we're standing over there, and the guide said, now, folks, this layer of rock right here is about 70 million years old. And it's so cool because they always get that sanctimonious tone in their voice, you know, 70 million years old. Oh. Well, my daughter was 12 years old at the time. She raised her hand. She said, mister, how do you know that layer is 70 million years old? He said, honey, that's a good question. We tell the age of the layers by what types of fossils we find in them. They're called index fossils. And by the way, that's correct. That's what the textbook says. Scientists use index fossils to determine the age of rock layers. She said, thank you, sir. We walked around the other side. We're standing over here, and the guide said, now, folks, these bones are about 100 million years old. My daughter raised her hand again. She said, sir, how do you know those bones are 100 million years old? He said, well, honey, we tell the age of the bones by which layer they came from. She said, sir, when we were standing over there, you told me you knew the age of the layers by the bones, and now you're telling me you know the age of the bones by the layers. She said, isn't that circular reasoning? I thought, wow, a chip off the old block. That guy had the strangest look on his face. It was almost as if he were thinking. He looked at my daughter. He looked at me. I wasn't about to help him. I thought, wow, this is going to be good. I have got to hear this. He looked back at my daughter. He said, wow, you're right. That is circular reasoning. He said, I never thought of that before. That fellow drove 50 miles one way that night to come hear me speak in Union Center, South Dakota. The crowd swelled to 39. We set up a chair in the aisle. Afterwards, he talked to me for an hour. He said, Hovind, is everything I believe about geology wrong? I teach this stuff at the college. I said, oh, no. I like geology. I've got a huge fossil collection, rock collection, mineral collection. I teach earth science. I love studying geology. I said, but as far as the layers being different ages, I said, yes, sir, I'm sorry. That is all baloney. It's based on circular reasoning. I'll show you. Here's a textbook that tells the kids to date the rocks by the fossils, and on the very next page, it says date the fossils by the rocks. On the next page, and they don't catch it. It's a lie. It's circular reasoning. The intelligent layman has long suspected circular reasoning in the use of rocks to date fossils and fossils to date rocks. The geologist has never bothered to think of a good reply, feeling the explanations are not worth the trouble as long as the work brings results. It cannot be denied from a strictly philosophical standpoint. Geologists are arguing in a circle. The relative ages of rocks are determined by the organisms they contain. They date the rocks by the fossils and the fossils by the rocks. Ever since the beginning of the 19th century, fossils have been and still are the best and most accurate method of dating and correlating the rocks in which they occur. Apart from very modern examples, which really are archaeology, I can think of no cases of radioactive decay being used to date fossils. They don't date fossils by potassium-argon dating or carbon dating. That's not how they do it. Radiometric dating would not even be possible if the geologic column had not been erected first. There's no way simply to look at a fossil and say how old it is unless you know the age of the rocks it comes from. This is Niles Eldredge, one of the most famous evolutionists alive today. He said, and this poses something of a problem. Yeah, something poses a big problem, Niles. If we date the rocks by the fossils, how can we then turn around and talk about patterns of evolutionary change through time in the fossil record? Circular reasoning. This guy said the rocks do date the fossils, but the fossils date the rocks more accurately. I think the cheese done fell out of his sandwich. That's what I think. Okay, he's a few fries short of a Happy Meal. It's
all right. So after seeing that, if that's how you interpret, or not interpret, if that's if that's the evidence you're being confronted with, if it's actually circular evidence, then yes, I completely understand why you say there's no evidence for evolution. I just think that's probably, what do you call it, a straw man, and I assume that's not actually the argument.
Well,
First
okay.
It's in
off,
their book. It's not going to be a straw man.
Well,
First off, I want to try editing your microphone to see. Can we have an audio test? Unmute, so I have the settings, and
Hello.
I'm gonna try to bring it up. So try talking now.
Hello, hello.
No,
much better.
is it better?
Yeah, that was louder.
I got closer.
Yeah,
I can hear
there
you
you go.
too.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right.
So no, the thing is though, I can play you immediately. I have it like ready. Another clip which shows how we started dating them way before radiometric datings. So when radiometric dating arrived scientifically, we had already reached the consensus and the agreement of how old they are. So that started at the 1700s by a lawyer called Lyell. So he erected the geologic column. 200 years later, we came up with the methods that coincidentally, in air quotes, verify that theory, unless you try to test it yourself. Because there are many cases where they have given the same specimen to different labs, and the result is completely different. So when you tell them, you know what, you made a mistake because I found this so many meters down, then they tell you, oh, then we're going to have to radiometric carbon date it again, which costs $500 to do. And they do it again. And now that they know where you found it, they give you the date that you expected. We have carbon dated living organisms, and the result comes out millions of years old, and they are alive today. So these are the assumptions. First off, carbon dating has a lot of assumptions, and these are the little problems that people don't look into. So we only touched right now one aspect, which is that there is circular reasoning in how they date each other, how they date the fossils and how they date the layers. They date the layers according to what they find in them, and then they date the fossils according to which layer they found them at. And this goes all the way back to the 1700s. Carbon dating did not exist. I'm sorry for the rant, but it's not a straw man, my friend.
Okay. Well,
It's a
then
problem.
let me give you guys this line of questioning
Go ahead, Dre.
before we run out of time. So you trust the scientific method.
Yes.
You can prove that evolution is false. Why are you not published in scientific journals?
Okay, who
Well,
wants
they
to take-
are. For example, Dr. Tor publishes. The guy who made the gene gun, I forget his name. I think it's Dr. James, also publishes. But academia, it all started. This is an atheist conspiracy. The Frankfurt School was a communist conspiracy. Like it's like why are we asking? Like why do atheists tend to lean communist or leftist? It's not a coincidence. They have the same agenda. So academia has been infiltrated by a bunch of atheists who are not willing to actually look at the facts.
Dre, you were asking about publishing. I just received this in the mail today. I live about 5 minutes from the head office of this creation ministry. It's located in Powder Springs, Georgia, but they're one of several. You have Ken Ham's ministry, which is probably the biggest, certainly the most visible. They have the Ark Encounter in the Creation Museum, both in Kentucky. And so if it's just that the only difference is the atheists, the evolutionists, have taxpayer dollars that support them. All of the creation ministries are supported by private donations. And if you've ever heard of or been to the Ark Encounter, it wasn't just, see, evolutionists like to pretend that only a few people believe in creation. It's just a tiny little minority. It wasn't just a few people that paid for the Ark Encounter. I promise you that. Or the Creation Museum. And David Reed has a big creation museum in Tennessee near Nashville. So there, if you look, you'll find a number of creation ministries that are out there that they might differ in minor ways, but most of them pretty much, like these people, they don't agree with Kent Hovind on everything, but they, 90% they would agree with him on. And so, I just wanted to, and they publish all kinds of books and things. They, it's just, you have to kind of look outside the box, as they say, think outside the box, and don't just go with what the mainstream academia has to offer.
For example, as Standing for Truth has published, heck, I can publish a book on the bug and the whole thing. Doesn't mean it's gonna get put into the actual academic books that kids are gonna read, because they have the power, they have the guns. As like you said, it's funded by taxpayer. That's just being said. It's being funded by theft, basically.
Yeah,
extortion.
Very true, Bubblegum. And so you can call me Lucky because Lucky speaks through me. She speaks for me. That's a joke. That's a joke.
So is this a belief that you all share, that academia is...
It's not a belief, it's a fact.
No, I want to know if everyone has the same opinion as you. Does everyone have the same opinion as Bubblegum?
I wasn't 100% listening because I was trying to type to Lord, and I want to ask Stephen what happened because I didn't.
I just put it in the private chat.
Oh, okay. I'll check it.
My biggest issue, Dret, is that, we've said repeatedly there's no evidence. And what I mean by that is, okay, let's say you have a fossil. Prove to me now it's billion of years old, without telling me that it's that old because of which layer you found it in. So, I don't accept what they present as evidence. Yes, you found a rock with a carving of a creature in it. Now prove to me it's billions of years old.
Okay. But then what is your response to why aren't your beliefs being published in scientific journals? If you have this proof?
Easy. It's very easy. When you have a narrative and you are this is an example that Ken Hovind brings
it's like
up.
Who owns the scientific journals, right? It's the atheists who...
Guys, it's not just that. It's that the vast majority of scientists are, I don't want to say brainwashed because that could be disrespectful, though that is my valid opinion, but they're pushed into a like consensus. And anytime a scientist publishes something or tries to get something peer reviewed that counters that larger consensus, it's not accepted, because the vast majority of people, even the scientist community, Dret, are a lot like you. They say, I believe it because it's the scientific consensus, but there's never any evidence. And they still won't admit that it's faith. But if you believe something with a lack of evidence, it can't be tested or demonstrated or observed, then it's faith, and that's religion.
And that faith is being taught both from public money, but also in private institutions. You pay for these lies to be taught to you if you are lucky, because those who are not lucky get fed with this fairy tale with the taxpayers' money.
Do you consider the United States, are we all in, well, I guess, Achilles, you live in Greece?
Yes.
The rest of us, are we all the United States?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm a Florida boy.
Do you consider the United States to be a Christian country?
Not
On
anymore.
paper.
I would say we were founded upon
Yeah.
Judeo-Christian values. Yeah.
No, I would say Episcopalic. It's not the Anglicans, but the Episcopalians. It's a very
Episcopalian.
there you go.
I mean,
There you go.
but
That sense of Christians.
whatever breed or flavor of it. Yeah. Okay. Other question, Dre?
Let me reframe it. Do you consider most U.S. citizens to be Christian
Right now?
right now?
No, God, no,
You do not.
absolutely not.
What
No.
percent, if you could give a percent, do you think are Christian?
I think the last polls I saw said that something like high 60% or low 70% of Americans identified as Christian. But as far as regularly attending church, I think the stat was closer to 40%. And I've been in churches my whole life, and I know that many of those folks are not Christian. So I could safely say, in my opinion, probably maybe 25% of our nation are Christian people.
Or practicing Christians is what you would
Yes,
say.
correct.
Okay. But so do you not believe that 60% identify as Christian?
Oh, I believe they identify that way, yes.
Okay. Why do you think that a country that has the majority of people identifying as Christian is being run by atheists in academia? Or atheists?
Well,
why are atheists in power in academia in a country? You get what I'm saying, right?
Right. Yeah, and the answer is because first God will try to bring you back through grace. And he did that through allowing us to break away from England, establish our own nation, even though it was born out of rebellion, which is technically unbiblical. And he blessed us into a superpower in an unprecedented amount of time. But we then fell away from God, and we started ripping him out of our schools. We started taking him out of our culture, and we substituted the hand of God in creation for happy accidents and random mutation. Bubblegum, please, no. And random mutations. And we really diluted it.
Well, what he's appealing to is this can be explained by rules for radicals. All you need is 20% of the population to really just change the hierarchy of power. For example, this happened in Russia. It was like about only, I believe, out of it was about actually 15% of the population that was Jewish.
But that's not the answer either. The Bible tells us.
No, but he's asking why.
All right,
He's asking why.
All right, Dre, you want to reiterate your question?
I think you've given your answer. You're saying that America has gone astray from its Christian foundation, right?
We have, absolutely, yes.
Okay, and at some point in that, atheists have brought their message to the forefront, right?
Well, as you remove God from culture, you have to replace it with something, because that leaves in people's life. So to take God out of culture, you have to put God's replacement, which is evolution.
Yeah, nature cannot stand a vacuum. And so, like Stephen said, if you take God out, someone will replace him. He will be replaced. And it's sad, but it's happened. So, and this has been going on for decades. This is nothing new. This has been going back to, at least the 1950s or earlier, that this has been gradually occurring. It's taken them a long time to completely entrench themselves, but they've done it pretty well. And that's why one of my passions is to support creation ministries. So there's a lot of people never even heard, I support Ken Hovind because his, unlike the others that I mentioned, Dinosaur Adventureland is free of charge to anyone who goes. And you learn a lot there. They have a lot to teach people there.
Well, it's deeper than that too, right? We used to homeschool our children, or they were schooled in small schoolhouses, and they were still taught by Christian teachers, and they still even read the Bible up until very relatively recent in our history.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just been a gradual secularization. I think I read somewhere or heard somewhere that one reason why schools began teaching evolution, it was during the Cold War when we were very much afraid of Russia overtaking us in terms of scientific advancement and such as the space race and everything. And so the reasoning was, well, they teach evolution in in Soviet schools, and that's why they're getting ahead of us, because they teach that. We need to teach it too. I don't know. Has anyone else heard that theory? That's what the reasoning was? Has anyone else heard that?
No, I think it's because we stopped homeschooling and schooling in small
Yeah.
Christian schoolhouses, and we adapted the public school system. And when we adapted the public school system, parents used to check and ask their kids what they were taught from textbooks after school every day. But then we also brought in soap operas and daytime TV, and people got distracted and stopped asking their kids what they were learning in school, and they slowly slipped in this crap over time.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
what year would you say was a turning point in what you're referring to? Can you pick a date?
I would say mid-century, mid 20th century, and that vicinity around then. That's my thinking. Maybe
Okay.
immediately after, like post World War II, possibly. Would you
I
agree?
thought a little bit before that
Yeah, maybe
they started introducing it.
Yeah, because John Dewey. When did he come along? He was very much an influence, an early influence.
But when the theory started circulating and was starting to be accepted in the scientific community, and when it was forcefully taught in public schools, those are two different questions also,
Yeah.
which I don't have the answer for.
I'm gonna try to pull you back to the discussion because I think we've branched off. Dred, may I ask, what is the point that you are trying to make with that question? Like, if you want me to explain what I mean, or if you want to answer.
I'm trying to remember where we were that brought us here in the first place.
It was your line of questioning.
My line of question. Oh, yes. I wanted to know what reasoning you have for why these beliefs are not what's prevalent in society. And you've shared that. It's kind of what I expected.
I didn't give my answer.
Oh, you would like to?
Yeah. The reason for that is I've been too preoccupied on the chat. Now, for me, it doesn't matter. I have some extremist beliefs. Extremist is the wrong word, like it can be taken for something bad. But if I believe something because I see the evidence, and I show the evidence to others, and the others don't want to see the evidence because they are so programmed to keep their eyes shut, I will not care. I don't care if it's just me versus 7 billion. They cannot tell me that because we all believe that, so should you. They should give me the evidence, and I will go with the evidence. So I don't care how many it is that believe in evolution. I know the history. I know that for communism to proceed, it has to start with evolution, because you cannot convince a society that there is no God if you don't bring in their schools the godless way of them being here. So when communists entered China, they didn't start teaching communism in schools. They changed the books and they replaced them with evolution. It is the number one step for everything wrong with this world today. The number one step is to tell them that there is no God to judge you and you can do whatever you want because you are just one ape that is different from the other apes, and survival of the fittest. So I arrived at this realization. I looked into it and I got completely convinced by the evidence, and I hold responsible those that haven't. At some point in life, I am 42 years old, and by the way, I received American education. I lived in LA for 2 years to complete my studies, and I still believe in God. And that, you can ask me if that has evidence. It actually has. It actually has. But they are trying to hide them. They are trying to hide all the evidence that we have of a flood, of the creation model, and they bring in millions and billions of years to mud the waters. So I don't care what the consensus thinks. I don't care what the majority thinks. Evidence is evidence. And the chart that we see on the left has zero evidence. It's all lies. It's all fabricated. So why should I care for what the majority would say?
My intention was not to suggest that majority opinion is best. It was more in line with, if you follow the scientific method, you can present new ideas. And the new idea, in theory, should be accepted by the scientific community. I don't know if I'm saying this right. The correct idea should be accepted by the scientific community. So if you had opposing beliefs like you guys do, then you should be able to get these beliefs published. And then
Well,
why
not
aren't they
only,
being
not
published?
not always, because the greatest minds that brought the science that we have today believed in God. Isaac Newton believed in God. Boyle believed in God. I can bring many examples. So you always have to go against the narrative in order to bring something new to the table. And
Gentlemen,
it's always opposed, always.
if I may, it's been a fascinating conversation. It's been an hour and 42 minutes. Dr. Hoven is wrapping up his show. So we're going to go ahead and end this stream. And here in the next few minutes, we're going to be starting the next one. So we hope that all